Wednesday chat day on statesman.com. Kirk Bowles and Cedric Golden spent an hour answering our readers' questions, ranging from the mostly about the Oklahoma win, obviously, the big win on Saturday. And guys, let's start off with that win. Kirk, we'll start with you. Why was Texas able to go up in Dallas and just beat Oklahoma the way they did?
That's a good question. Why did
Well,
they
answer it.
Okay, clearly OU is not an elite team, as I wrote about a week before.
Wow.
I was dead wrong there. Two, it looked like to me like Texas just had enough of this losing streak, and they had really bought into this team and the rest of their season and winning or trying to win the Big 12 Conference. So I think it showed a lot about their attitude and the intensity they brought.
Pure physical dominance on both sides of the line. I never would have called it. This offensive line has been much maligned for years. By me and others in light blue shirts. They have been ripped to shreds in this game for so many years, and now they come in there and they push Oklahoma backwards. We never saw that coming. Right. Two running backs over 100 yards against Oklahoma in the same game for the first time in the 108-year history of that rivalry. And on defense, they score a touchdown, and Greg Robinson holds OU to one offensive touchdown for the whole game.
A lot of the tone of the questions you guys were taking were looking into the future, and we'll go with one that Benny asked you guys. Is the open week right now after OU, before they play TCU, is it a good or bad thing for Texas to be idle this week?
I think it's a good thing, even though they built up a lot of momentum. I think that it emotionally, I think, drains you a game like that, because it's one of my favorite rivalries in all of sports. So I think it probably, serves Texas well that they can kind of recharge their emotional batteries with a week off.
I go back and forth on this, but in the end, it's probably a good thing because they need to heal up and put this behind them. I would have loved to have seen how they would have responded, though, had they played at Fort Worth against TCU this coming Saturday instead of next Saturday.
Right.
But that way they could have kept the momentum from that game going, and we could have seen if they were able to avoid that proverbial letdown. That happens in so many instances. But I think Mac Brown has a good chance to put OU in the rear view and get after TCU. And if they start 4-0 in the Big 12, they're going to be a lot of people shaking their heads. 4-0 with wins over teams that we both expected to be the top two teams competing for this conference.
That's why you love college football.
The extra week off gives David Ash another week to recover from his concussion symptoms that kept him out of the Oklahoma game. And guys, a lot of questions you took in this chat were about whether or not it should be Ash's team once he returns, or if Case did enough against Oklahoma to prove that he deserves to be the starter for the rest of the year no matter what. What are your thoughts?
I personally think Case did do enough. He showed that he does have those intangibles, and in the right game plan where they're pounding the ball. They ran the ball 60 times, and that's a perfect recipe for Case McCoy to pick his spots as a quarterback. He only threw 21 passes, and that's kind of the perfect ratio. And the other thing, too, is if you go back to Ash and one other head injury, you're right back where you started from. So I think it makes sense to leave Case McCoy as your quarterback now.
Simply put, Case McCoy handed it to the Oklahoma Sooners. Let Case McCoy start. He beat Oklahoma. That's huge. I know it's not always fair to heap all the credit on a quarterback when he wins or when he loses, but when he leaves this place, Case McCoy will be able to say, I shut down Kyle Field in 2011, and I beat the you-know-what out of the Oklahoma Sooners in 2013. I think that gives him the right to be the quarterback of this team. I would advise David Ash to seek a medical red shirt. If you want to continue playing football, now would be a good time to sit out the rest of this season, come back as the starting quarterback next year with 2 years of eligibility and a cleared head.
Another great chat on statesman.com. Make sure you check back next week, 11 a.m. on Wednesday. As Kirkin said, will be there answering your questions as the Longhorns prepare to hit the road and take on TCU. We'll see you.